Yo, what's up, guys? It's that time of season again, right after semifinals, where I give my FNCS Grand Finals prediction for who I think is going to place inside of the top 10. Plus, I might give some honorable mentions at the end of the video. Hope you all enjoy the video, and let's just get right into it, talking about first place. So in first place, I have Acorn and Cold. They've been so consistent because the only Dual Cash Cup finals they made, they ended up getting fourth, but then they didn't qualify for any other Dual Cash Cup finals. But both of the semifinals they played, they won both semifinals, the lower bracket, then they went to uppers and won it with a lot of kills in both. So I just think they're gonna place first. They also did very good last season, placing fifth. So they went first, fifth, and I think they're gonna get first again. In the number 2 spot, I have Yamzo and Tayson. They have been very up and down, with placing 5th in a Cash Cup finals, 1st in a Cash Cup finals, 20th in a Cash Cup finals. In semifinals, they placed, I think it was 5th and 5th in both weeks of finals. I have them in second. They've been very consistent in the finals that they've made. I feel like they're a very good finals team, and they have a very good drop. On number 3, I have Clix and Vino. They have been very consistent this season, except for the first 2 Cash Cups when there was fists. They ended up completely dudding in those, getting like 20th in both. But then they came back strong and got a 5th or a 1st in the week 1 FNCS, then a 1st in the Cash Cup, then a 5th in FNCS week 2. Then they ended up placing 12th in the Cash Cup. But they have been very consistent ever since Fist got removed. But as soon as Crash Pads came back, they did get that 12th place. I still think they have a very good opportunity to win Grands. And also the Dual Cash Cup today, I feel like they will do really good. They have a very good drop uncontested at Sandy Steps going into Grands. And they also have uncontested Forecast Tower with an 80% spawn rate right outside of Sandy Steps. And so I think they will have a very good chance to at least get a top 3 this Grands, but maybe win. In 4th, I don't think this pick surprises anybody. It's going to be Peterbot and Poyo. They were doing very bad at the start of the season. They didn't call one Cash Cup finals or FNCS weekly finals when Fist and Nitro were still very OP. But then they ended up, as soon as Nitro got removed, they played FNCS finals and they won. And then they played the Dual Cash Cup and they won. Peterbot and Poyo also have Uncon Redline Rig, which has one of the strongest medallions and strongest ARs you've ever seen. It's kind of like Grim from last season, so I feel like they also do have a chance to win, just like any other team in the top 5. But for now, I'm just going to leave them at 4th because their placements at the start of the season weren't that great. And I feel like they might just dud a little bit in Grands, but they still should be easily a top 5 team. For my 5th pick, this once again shouldn't surprise anybody because they placed 3rd last Grands. It's going to be Cooper and Kanata. They have been kind of rocky this season. Cooper was on vacation the first 2 weeks when their drop at Nitro Dome was OP because it had the crossbow and the infinite ammo. But Kanata ended up playing with Skittles. They ended up getting a 4th, and I'm pretty sure they won. So he did really good with Skittles. Then Cooper came back, and when he came back, their drop got nerfed. And there was no bow anymore, so not as OP, and they ended up kind of doing, they haven't been the greatest, but they're just such a good finals team. And in the weekly finals, they placed 6th so they placed 1st on consistency, but 6th on the actual leaderboard. And then they ended up qualing in day 3 by placing like 10th or something. So they're still very consistent, and they're still definitely on top. So I think they will easily do good this Grand. 97 crack. In 6th, I once again have one that's just no surprise to anybody. Booga and Big Cheese Aviv. They ended up placing 2nd in the first Cash Cup of the season. Then they didn't qual. Then they placed 1st in FNCS week 1, round 3. Then they placed 6th in round 4. Then they placed 4th in the next Cash Cup finals. Then they placed 1st in round 3 of week 2. Then they placed 16th in round 4. Then they placed 13th in the Dual Cash Cup finals. Then they placed 10th in the Dual Cash Cup finals. Then they placed 2nd in FNCS semifinals upper bracket to qualify to Grands. They're also going into Grands with Uncon Classy Quartz. Next, at 7th on my list is going to be Rise and Agers. They placed 7th in the first Dual Cash Cup, placed 23rd in FNCS week 1, which isn't the greatest, but then brought it back with a 9th in the Cash Cup finals. Then ended up placing 12th in week 2 for round 4. Then they brought it back again, placing 5th in the Dual Cash Cup finals. Then they ended up placing 7th in the Dual Cash Cup finals. Then got 3rd in upper bracket to qual to Grands. Then just yesterday, they got 7th in the Duo Cash Cup Opens to qualify to finals today. And they are going in Uncon at the middle of the map at the Shipwreck. So I have high hopes for them calling the land of it this season.
Alright, there goes Reboots.
Next on my list, this team might come as a surprise. Batman, Booga, and Rapid. They ended up winning the first Cash Cup of the season, very surprisingly, out of nowhere. Then they ended up not qualifying for the next Duo Cash Cup. Then they won round 1 of FNCS Week 1. Then they placed 5th in the final round of that week. Then they placed 1st in the Duo Cash Cup again. Then they placed 3rd in FNCS Week 2. Then they placed 2nd in the Duo Cash Cup Finals. Then they placed 20th in the Duo Cash Cup Finals, which isn't quite as good. Then they ended up qualifying to Grands by placing 11th, staying in upper bracket, getting 2nd, and qualifying straight through to Grand. And they have uncontested Grimgate. Next on my list is a team that placed 2nd last Grand Finals, is Xset Ritual and Reet. They placed 10th in the first Duo Cash Cup Finals, didn't qualify for the next one, then got 25th in FNCS Round 4 Week 1. Then they got 8th in the Duo Cash Cup Finals. Then they qualified again for FNCS Week 2 and got 2nd in the final round. Then they got 9th in the Duo Cash Cup Finals. Then they got 8th in the Duo Cash Cup Finals. Then they placed 21st to stay in the upper bracket. Then got 4th to qualify to Grand. Then they just didn't qualify yesterday for the next Duo Cash Cup Finals. I think this team will easily have a top 10 performance. They're already called to land event, so they don't have much to lose. But I still think they will be a top 10 team. At 10th place, you have your FNCS Global Champion, Controller God, Legend, best player to ever touch controller on this video game, Miro. They ended up placing 22nd in the first Duo Cash Cup Finals, 7th in Week 1 Finals, 6th in the next Duo Cash Cup Finals, 19th in Week 2 Round 4. Then they didn't qualify for the Duo Cash Cup, sadly. Then they didn't qualify again for the Duo Cash Cup. Then they placed 7th in upper bracket to stay in the upper bracket. Then placed 12th to once again stay in upper bracket to then get 3rd to go straight through to Grand. And they just qualified for the Duo Cash Cup yesterday, so they will be playing again today. And I think they will easily get a top 10 in the Duo Cash Cup today. So some honorable missions to place like top 15, which by the way, top 15 should qualify you for the Global Championship because there's some people already qualified who will push the spots down. People like Acorn and Cold, Peter Rot and Pollo, Reet and Ritual, even maybe Alex and Worthy because they did move over to NA. I think they will probably play somewhere around like 12th or 13th. I think Mongrel and Savage will probably play somewhere around that same area, like 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. I think the same for like every player who just is like just below that top 10, but like right there and could be a top 10 team. There's teams like Epic Whale and Muzz who just formed but ended up doing really well in the semifinals to qualify to Grands with uncontested Lavish. I think they will have definitely a chance to get a top 15 or so to qualify for the global lane event. Bryce X and Bolt, who placed 6th last season, have been a little bit worse this season, but they're still uncon at Plane Crash. And I think, once again, they're just going to be another top 10 or top, 13 team who can qualify for the LAN event. So like I said, I think Mongrel and Savage will definitely qualify. I think Muzz and Epic Whale, Bryce X and Bolt, all of those players. Sphinx and Dukes definitely, and Kwani and Japco. That would be my 5 top 15 people who could qualify. And then Alex and Worthy would be right around that 16, 17 area. So we'll just have to see going into Grands how close all my predictions were. I'm going to recap everybody I said in this video at the very end. Hope you guys enjoyed, and please just check out my Twitter because I post on there like every day about new videos, new stuff, like maybe tournaments if I get enough people following, because I only have like 120. I'm down bad. So just go check it out. It's the same as every social. CeipFNBR, CEIPFNBR. It's so simple. Just go follow me and just be ready on the lookout for new tweets and stuff. Hope you guys ended up joining in the video. Thanks for watching and peace.